Welcome to the Happier and Healthier podcast. I'm your host, Maria Marlowe, and this is a place where we don't rely on good luck or good genes for our health and happiness, but rather we create it with our thoughts and our actions each and every single day. Each week, I'll bring you a thought or a guest that will help you live your happiest and healthiest life. Are you ready? Welcome to the first episode of the Happier and Healthier podcast. I'm thrilled to be launching this new platform to share ideas, insights, and inspiration, as well as the advice of experts across a variety of fields, all in the hopes of helping you live a happier and healthier life. We're going to be talking with integrative medicine doctors, psychologists, relationship experts, authors, wellness entrepreneurs, and a slew of interesting people who can offer ideas that will help you take your life to the next level. Will help you tap into your intuition, to trust your body and your heart, to think bigger, to set higher goals, to take massive action, to take control of your health, and ultimately to create the life of your dreams. I want to use this first episode to give you a little overview of what you can expect in the forthcoming episodes, as well as the inspiration behind it. And then I'm going to leave you with a couple questions that will help you figure out how to start your own personal journey to better health and happiness. So first and foremost, with this podcast, I hope to dispel the myth that health and happiness are the result of good luck or good genes. I believe that health and happiness can be achieved by anyone, regardless of their situation, through their thoughts and their actions. The last thing I want to do, though, is to paint a picture of perfection or that achieving health and happiness is super easy. It's not. They're actually the result of a lot of hard work. They are the result of changing our thought patterns and our habits and of stepping out of our comfort zone. Becoming happier and healthier also doesn't mean that you should be 100% healthy and 100% happy all of the time. If you're not feeling so happy and healthy right now, that's okay. The purpose of this podcast is to give you the tools to get back to health and happiness. Now, one of the main reasons I was inspired to create this show was because I personally found myself spiraling into a very unhappy and unhealthy state, comparing myself to celebrities and people on Instagram who portray this perfect image of themselves. The more I compared myself to people who look like the epitome of health and happiness, I found the more unhappy and unhealthy I got. They're just showing the highlight reel and surface level, but not all the behind the scenes or the work that went into it. And worse, sometimes they're showing a life that's completely fabricated, like it's not even real at all, yet we see it as real or we believe it's real, even though I think we all ultimately understand that Instagram is highly curated and social media is highly curated. Now, I realized also at the same time that just as I was looking at other accounts thinking that these people were perfect, people were looking at my account and thinking I was perfect, which is definitely not the case. Now, don't get me wrong, I've created a great life and I love and I'm grateful for it. But there are days when I'm angry or sad or jealous, or I don't want to get out of yoga pants, or I don't want to go to work, or I secretly wish I could just leave everything and move to a tropical island. There are times when I'm not very happy. There are days that I get sick. But over the years, through mentors and books and seminars and just life experience, I've learned to pull myself out of these crappy feelings. I've figured out how to catch myself when I'm going into a negative place and stop myself from wallowing in it and letting it negatively affect my life. So that's not to say that I never have unhappy feelings or thoughts, but just that they take up a very small percentage of my time or thoughts. And that's what I want to help you do too with this podcast. I want to help you choose happiness and health over fear, over sadness, worry, self-doubt, and self-loathing. I also want to make it clear that I'm on this journey along with you to become happier and healthier myself. The goal, in my opinion, shouldn't be to be 100% happy all of the time, but to know how to find happiness wherever life takes you. And that's why I chose the name Happier and Healthier, because it's about incremental changes and every day getting just a little bit better at whatever we're working on. So I thought this podcast would be a great way to get a little more real and a little bit more raw and honest with you guys, because no matter what, life's not always rainbows and butterflies. but it's your choice how you deal with it. And I want to show you that no matter what is thrown at you, you have the power to overcome it, to conquer it, and to crush it. For a long time, I relied on everything and everyone outside of myself for my health and happiness. I thought if I was sick, the only one who could get me better was a doctor. Or if I was unhappy, it was my boyfriend's or my parents' or someone else's job to make me happy. But that's just not true. It's up to us to make ourselves happy and healthy. So this is not a self-help podcast, but rather a reality check and a weekly reminder that our life is a culmination of our thoughts and our actions. My promise to you is not to sugarcoat things or to paint a picture of perfection, but rather to give you honest thoughts and conversations. And most importantly, I want to make each of these episodes actionable so that you can take a little nugget of wisdom and apply it in your life, whether it's a new thought or a new habit or a new perspective. To give you a little bit of background on me, I'm an Integrative Nutrition Health Coach based in New York City, and I've had a private practice for the past 5 years. I've coached hundreds of people, from moms and college students to business executives and celebrities, and I run a healthy recipe and nutrition content site and Instagram. However, I didn't grow up healthy. I grew up in a family where the vast majority of my family members are obese. The vast majority of them have at least one chronic illness or disease, including myself, and where a number of them have succumbed to cancer even. So when people look at me now, it's funny to me because they often think it's impossible that I was ever heavier than I am now, or had acne so bad that I would have nervous breakdowns, or that I was sick seemingly all of the time. But that was my life up until about 10 years ago. If I didn't make the conscious decision to make a change in my life, I would probably be obese or heavily overweight or sick and have all sorts of different health problems. But I made the choice. I saw the people around me suffering. I saw them getting up and not feeling good every day and having back problems and knee problems and heart problems and this problem and that problem. And I decided that I didn't want that. Now, initially, I thought that this was just my destiny, that I had really bad genes or bad luck, and I was born into a family with a lot of health problems, so that I was going to have those health problems too. But once I learned differently, and once I learned the effects that diet and lifestyle have on our health and our body, I made the conscious decision to make a change and to at least give it a try and see if it actually worked. And it did. About 10 years ago, I was introduced to the concept of food as medicine, and that completely 110% changed my life. And we're going to be talking a lot about food as medicine on the podcast. But as time went on, I realized that there are a lot of other facets to health and happiness. So secondly, I would say mindset is a huge one. Our perspective and outlook on life and how we view things is one of the key determinants of our health and happiness. So that's another topic that we're going to address quite frequently on the podcast. A third thing would be relationships. The blue zones, for example, which are the countries or the cities rather that have the longest lived populations where people routinely live past 100. One of the things that they have in common is that they also have really close bonds, really close relationships with friends, with family, with loved ones, and that is believed to be one of the key core components of a long life, or a healthy and happy long life, is good relationships. We're also going to be talking about purpose and career even, because I think that without purpose, we have no reason to get up in the morning. And we do spend the majority of our waking hours working, for most of us. So if our career is out of alignment with what we like or what we want or what we're interested in, we're probably not going to be as happy as we could be. So these are the main areas or topics that we're going to cover. And it's all going to go back to, how do we stand in our power? Do we become more decisive and go after what we want? So not just dream about it or think about it, but actually do it, go after it, and achieve it. But here's the kicker here. How do we do all these things even when life is unfair, or even when things seem hard or things seem tough? How do we create health and happiness despite our circumstances, whatever they may be? I remember hearing a story about these two brothers who grew up with an alcoholic father. One of them followed exactly in his father's footsteps, becoming an alcoholic himself, and the other decided never to touch the stuff. They grew up in the same exact environment, but they turned that experience into a different future. One became a victim of his circumstances, and the other used it to fuel a better life. In my opinion, there are 3 keys to health and happiness. The first is to realize that you're in control of it. You're in control of your health. You're in control of your happiness. And you're way more powerful than you think. Now, I want to make it clear that if you're not feeling so healthy or so happy right now, I'm not saying that's your fault. Life can be really shitty and do really shitty things to us. I'm just suggesting that you can use those situations to feel bad and to go into worse and worse places, or you can work through them and use them to fuel an even better life, just like those 2 brothers with the alcoholic father. Second is to decide to focus on positivity, happiness, and a can-do attitude instead of wallowing in fear, stress, sadness, or this world is out to get me attitude. And third is to get into the habit of taking massive action, even when it's scary. It's not enough to know, to think, or to dream about something. You actually have to go out and do it. Personally, this is a hard one for me, is the taking action part. Interestingly enough, I feel like I go through periods where I just take massive action and just crush everything, my to-do list, my life, like everything is just action, action, action. And then there's also periods in my life where I feel paralyzed, whether it's by fear or procrastination or whatever, emotions, whatever it may be. I feel kind of stuck and I get into this state of not really taking massive action. So this is one that I'm constantly working on myself. So I hope to reinforce these ideas in one way or another with every episode and to give you the inspiration and the tools to pull yourself out of whatever pit you get stuck in, because we all get stuck in shit from time to time. Now, I've already mentioned a few different things that contribute to our happiness, such as our health, our relationships, our career, and purpose. But where do we really start? And I think for many of us, the easiest and most accessible way to start working towards happiness is actually with our food. Because when we stuff ourselves with junk food, it puts us in a junky mood. It cuts off our intuition, and quite frankly, it also just makes us feel like crap, right? We feel sick and lethargic, moody, depressed even. And when we don't feel good, it's hard to have a good life. It's hard to feel happy if our body feels like crap. When you upgrade your diet and you feed it real foods with the nutrients your body needs, you're going to feel better, you're going to think better, more clearly, you'll be in a better mood. And when you're in a good mood, you can't really help but to feel happy. In a nutshell, I want to show you that you're not doomed by your genes or your luck, and anyone can choose to live a happier and healthier life. So I'm going to leave you with a few questions that will help you pinpoint any thoughts or things that may be holding you back from becoming happier and healthier. I want you to think about, where in your life are you giving up your power? Are you relying on other people or events or things for your happiness? For example, when I get a boyfriend or a job promotion or a better apartment. Are you ignoring your health, neglecting your body, or giving up on yourself? How do you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror? Do you love yourself, or do you loathe yourself? And are you making excuses about why you can't do something or achieve something that you say you want to do? What I hope to do with this podcast is to really help you be your own coach, right? And your own guide. And of course, it's great to work with coaches and mentors, or even have friend support groups that can help you in this kind of thing. But self-reflection is really one of the most powerful things that we can do. And simply taking the time to think and to reflect, it is something that we really don't do very often anymore. I think in our modern society, any second of time that we don't have to do something, we're immediately on our phones, we're immediately on social media, we're immediately distracting ourselves. And we don't ever give ourselves time to reflect, but really that self-reflection can help answer a lot of questions that we have and help solve a lot of problems I think that we're facing. So I really want to help you get back to this self-reflection. So take some time to think about these questions, better yet, journal about these questions. And I'm going to have the questions for you on mariamarlowe.com/1 and see what comes up for you. I'd love to hear from you, hear what you're working on, hear what your obstacles and challenges are. So after each episode, I encourage you to join the conversation. Just share your thoughts over on Instagram at Maria Marlowe. That's MariaMarlowe, or on Facebook in the new Happier and Healthier Podcast Facebook group. I'm really looking forward to connecting with you guys. I have amazing guests for you lined up, and I can't wait to share them with you. I have so many incredible interviews. There will always be show notes for each of the episodes on mariamarlowe.com/podcast. There will be, of course, show notes for this episode, including the questions I just mentioned, and you can find those specifically on mariamarlowe.com/1. But again, you could always go to the podcast page, and that will be where all the latest episodes are. So thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I'm wishing you all the health and happiness in the world. Thanks for tuning in this week. If you enjoyed and got value from this episode, I'd be so grateful if you can take just 1 minute to leave an honest review on iTunes, as that will help us reach more people and get incredible guests on the show. To say thank you, email a screenshot of your review to info@mariamarlowe.com and we'll send you a free 3-day healthy eating sugar detox meal plan. After each and every episode, I encourage you to come say hi on Instagram at Maria Marlowe, that's MariaMarlowe, or in the private Happier and Healthier podcast group on Facebook. In both of these places, we can continue the conversation about today's episode, so come and share what you think. If you want more, you can also head to mariamarlowe.com, where you'll find tons of healthy recipes, meal plans, and resources to help you live your healthiest and happiest life. Lastly, if there's someone you know who'd enjoy this podcast, make their day, and mine, and send it to them now. Until next time, don't forget, health and happiness are a choice. Our thoughts become our reality, so make sure you're thinking up a masterpiece.